they're pretty famous for raising one of the largest Series A's in not only in Web3, but also in financial services. They raised about 500 million back in 2021. You might know them for being a payments company, but actually a lot's changed since then. So Ivan, give us a bit of an update. You've been busy. What's MoonPay all about now?
Sure. Well, first off, hyped up to be here. Let's get a woo from the audience. NFT Paris. Woo! Give it a woo.
You can do better than that.
Yeah, I was actually blown away just being outside, just seeing the line upon lines to come in here. It took me 45 minutes just to get directly on this stage right now. So people are asking me, is Web3 dead? I think Web3 is far from dead. People are excited about this technology. They're excited about the next generation of the internet. When I started MoonPay, it was around solving a very simple problem. 2018 was when I was really focused on looking at what were the user experiences that existed in crypto and how could we improve on them. The very first version of MoonPay went live with Bitcoin.com. Our very first transaction, it was March of 2019. And what we did was we said, how do we make it simpler for people that come to Bitcoin.com to top up their Bitcoin.com wallet? And we use the distribution point of their Visa and their MasterCards, right? Billions of people already on those networks. How do we make it simple for them to buy and top up their wallet? Because in the past, what you would have to do is you had to go to an exchange, you had to put in a spot order, you had to buy that cryptocurrency, and then withdraw it to your wallet, which in my view made no sense. Like, it needs to be a slick, couple taps of an experience and you have cryptocurrency in your wallet. So I remember it was a bear market. I was trying to raise a seed round for MoonPay. I was turned down by pretty much everybody. And we even had a client. We were up and running. We were generating revenue. But it was very difficult to convince people at that point because of the bull market of 2017. People had lost interest in crypto. 2018, 2019 were tough years. But we kept at it. We kept installing our infrastructure in a number of the major wallets. Today, we power 6 of the 10 most popular wallets on mobile. If you search buy Bitcoin or buy Ethereum, I want to give a shout out to our SEO team and our growth team. I think they've done a remarkable job. If you search buy Ethereum, buy Bitcoin, MoonPay will be one of the very first things that comes up, or our partners will come up. And we're constantly working to iterate and improve our service. We have a mindset at MoonPay, we call it Kaizen, which literally means change for better in Japanese, and we're making these continuous incremental improvements every single day. And the ambition of the business as a payments business is to cover every payment method across every geography. So we're going to continue localizing the experience and making it better for MoonPay customers all around the world. We have 15 million today to onboard and buy their first cryptocurrency. But from there, I think one of the really exciting things I've seen over the last couple of years is really the emergence of NFTs and the content of crypto changing. So it's not just a cryptocurrency, a new form of digital money that you can use. I didn't necessarily see, how many people here have used cryptocurrency in the last week? Actually, this is pretty impressive. And a lot of the audiences, a lot of people don't use cryptocurrency yet in everyday life. So I see what's more interesting, actually, how many people have used an NFT or bought an NFT or engaged with an NFT in the last week? It's actually less hands than cryptocurrency. That doesn't make any sense. But I imagine if we surveyed the entire audience here, they would say they're excited about NFTs. And I'm really excited because I think the barrier to entry is much lower. And really, it's a new form of content. It's a new file format. And this file format can represent virtually anything. It could be a collectible. It can be music. It can be art. It can be entertainment. It can be fashion. And so when I looked at the crypto audience, I said, this is a very small audience. How can this audience become bigger? And NFTs overtook crypto in terms of search volume over the last year. So the trend is definitely moving in another direction. So when I looked at our business, I said, we need to make it easier for people to purchase NFTs. So then we started studying that behavior, and we saw that people were having to go buy cryptocurrency to buy Ethereum or buy Solana to then go get their first NFT, which again, in my view, didn't make a lot of sense. We need to simplify that process. It doesn't make sense that people have to get this digital currency first before buying an NFT. So over the last year, we shipped NFT Checkout, which is now live on OpenSea. So if you go to OpenSea, you can now use your debit or credit card to purchase directly. And we take out that complexity of having to go acquire Ethereum first before you can go buy your NFT. You can just have a simple checkout experience. And so that's the buy side of our business, 15 million customers, constantly trying to find new geographies, new payment methods that we can add, improving that experience. We're fanatical around conversion, just studying that journey. But then on the other side, over the last year, we've become a bigger business. We saw an opportunity to get involved at an earlier stage and increase the funnel of people coming into Web3. So we see when we describe MoonPay today, we don't describe ourselves just as a payments infrastructure business. We describe ourselves as a Web3 infrastructure business. And the big opportunity, which I think a lot of people here are excited about, are the biggest brands. The biggest brands in the world are seeing the opportunity to engage not just with their audiences, but with communities. And I define the difference between an audience and a community. An audience being passive, where you can learn the insights of how your audience has interacted, but a community that's actively engaged. And that's what's so exciting about Web3. You have all these incredible on-chain analytics, which you can actually link to things off-chain, and you can start to build these really interesting relationships with consumers. And in the last year, we saw Nike, we saw Dolce & Gabbana, we saw Tiffany's launch, $250 million of revenue that they generated through their digital collectible strategy. We're very early days, and I think there's huge opportunities to bring more content into the space. So over the last year, we built another business called Hypermint, which enables any brand to launch a smart contract, whether they want to do it on an EVM-compatible chain, Ethereum, Polygon. They can do it on Solana. They can launch their NFTs with us, and then we plug that into our payments infrastructure to make a really seamless end-to-end journey.
So Ivan, let's talk about that a bit more. You mentioned some of these incredible brands, Nike, Tiffany, Gucci, Time, etc. They were pretty early innovators in realizing the potential of Web3. How is MoonPay and Hypermint working with them, and what are you seeing now, having, they went through the boom? Are we going boom bust, or is it even more interesting coming out now?
So one of the phrases I love in cryptocurrency is HODL, which means hold on for dear life. I think it's a highly volatile space, but it's emerging technology. And with any disruptive emerging technology, you're going to go through waves of adoption. You start with your innovators and your inventors, then you move to your early adopters, then you move to an early majority, and then you move to your late majority. I think we're still very much in the early adopter to early majority phase right now. I think more and more people are starting to see these use cases come to life. But I think a lot of the boom and bust, and we saw a little bit of a boom and bust within the NFT space, a lot of that was driven, if you actually look at the content that people were participating with or engaging with, a lot of them were profile picture-based NFTs, which I still think are really cool. It's a way you can express your identity online. You can change your profile picture to an NFT that's linked on-chain, and it can say something about you. But a lot of the activity around those NFTs, there was a lot of trading activity, a lot of speculative activity around the floor prices. And it's kind of similar to what you saw with crypto and a lot of the alternative cryptocurrencies. You saw a lot of that behavior emerge within NFTs. What I think is really exciting now, and the shift that we're starting to see, is kind of the future of what brands can, how brands can actually use this technology. And I think it's not just going to be about the metric of the revenue that they're able to generate as a result of pursuing a Web3 strategy and launching a new digital collectible. It will also be about how do they increase the lifetime value of particular customer segments or particular people within their community. And so we're already starting to see that with new loyalty programs coming to life on chain, membership programs. I think that is probably going to be the next wave, is you can now have, and let's break down a couple of really cool examples of some of the stuff that we did in the last year. One really cool example was Alo Yoga. So a lot of people, I had never really known about Alo Yoga as a brand, but I've become an Alo Yoga fan. If you go to Los Angeles, you can't walk 2 seconds without seeing someone rocking Alo Yoga gear. But they approached us. They were looking to launch a new high price point SKU. They were going to launch it at New York Fashion Week. It was $1,000 an item versus, in most cases, their items are in the couple $100 range. And what they did was they said, okay, we're not going to bring people and say, all right, crypto, NFTs, you're going to have to use this new technology. And behind the scenes, they used Hypermint's technology to mint a digital certificate, this proof of ownership that you own that particular SKU. And after the refund window closed, so no one could game the system, you can now go to an Alo Yoga house. They have these Alo Yoga experiential houses all around. They have them in California. They have them in other parts of the United States. You can now show up with your Hypermint pass, and you're going to be able to get some cryotherapy. You can get a workout session in. And so they're targeting a micro community within the overall Alo Yoga audience. And so these are the kind of things that you're going to be able to do. And I think it's going to be, from a marketing perspective, there's two sides. From a marketer, an incredible new way to engage this community. But as a participant, you now have a more personalized and curated experience with the brands that you love.
So changing tack slightly, I mean, other than new products, working with some formidable brands, you've also been attracting some incredible talent to MoonPay's team. So just recently, you announced Keith Grossman, the former president of Time, who's come
Sitting
on
right here.
just there. And you also brought on the former president and COO of Coinbase, Asif. Tell us about what these big hires mean for you and where the company's going next.
So as an entrepreneur, what you'll recognize is everything is about the team. You have to build a super team. If you want to build incredible products, you have to assemble the best team. And so that's an iterative process. It takes a while to attract the kind of talent to take your business to the next level. And I've spent a lot of my time. I see, as my role as CEO, it's really a talent manager. I'm trying to identify the very best talent across every single department and aspect of what we do. So I'm really excited that we have Keith on board. Keith is an incredible person. You guys should get to know him. He launched the Timepieces initiative, which was one of the very first corporate initiatives that I really admired. And if you guys are not familiar with the Timepieces initiative, just to tell you a little bit about it, so Time Magazine, a brand that many people know and love. I love Time for Kids. I used to read Time for Kids as a child. I remember I had to see it in school, and a lot of people would interact with Time that way. But they have an iconic brand. And for them, what they're finding is a lot of their subscribers, how do they pay for their business? They pay for their business through subscribers. And so they found a new way to engage a certain subset of subscribers by launching these timepieces. So they took the IP that people love, the Time magazine cover, and they created these different timepieces that people could own and collect. And now you can go to time.com, connect your wallet, and you are essentially beyond just a subscriber. You're a premium member of the Time community. And from there, you can experience events, but they've curated a very specific audience of Time that loves it. And what's interesting, where people were paying up to thousands of dollars for these timepieces. The annual subscription for Time magazine was around $40. So for them, it was a new way to track revenue, but it's also a new way that they can personalize and curate the content based on the NFTs that people have when they engage on the platform. So I think that was a great example. And so I said, well, we're going to be doing more work. We want to onboard as many people into Web3, into this ecosystem. We need someone that's done it before with a brand. And so Keith is now running as president of enterprise at MoonPay. And then Asif, just having someone that's been through the waves of cycles of adoption at Coinbase. Coinbase is a company I continue to admire around the user experience that they had built. For us, one of the things that Asif and I really connected on was, what is the future of bringing people into Web3 and this new technology? It might not just be financial services and the financialization of these different crypto assets. I actually think the next big wave will really be around culture. And so we agreed around that. It will be the culture that brings more and more people into Web3. So that's what we're really excited around the next phase of adoption.
Ivan, you were one of the earliest people to get excited about NFTs and their potential, and I know you spent some time walking the floors here, and you actually probably are one of the largest collector of NFTs as well. Give us a bit of an insight about what you're excited about today.
Yeah, so I think where we are now, it's still, I said we're in that early adopter phase, right? And so we need things that people are using in everyday life. One really interesting stat, if you look at the users of chess.com today, there are more daily active users of chess.com than on Ethereum. That's how early we are in terms of this ecosystem really being built out. So the focus this year are, what are the case studies that we can point to with brands where it's making an impact in someone's everyday life, right? So, I think from my side, what's exciting is all these people here. Right? Look at all these people here. Like, there's still a very engaged audience that's excited about the future that's to come in the space. So I'm spending more of my time speaking to these brands, learning what they want to achieve. And now what's really exciting with MoonPay is we can help these brands go completely end to end. One of the recent things that we did was we acquired a agency called Night Shift, which we rebranded to Other Life. They're based in Toronto. They're awesome guys out there. They're actually somewhere in this audience, Moody and Perot, probably downstairs, probably speaking to brands. But they were helping a lot of these brands navigate some of the complexity around building out the front ends, building out the websites. And frankly, as a business, we need to start doing things that don't scale in the beginning to start building the flywheel effect around this content. So a lot of my focus this year is, what are the biggest things that we can point to that are making a difference where people are getting onboarded in everyday life? And what's really exciting is you have brands like Nike and Starbucks that are investing heavily in this space, and they're building out all this new content. So I think those are ones to watch. I think gaming is another area that, the reality is it takes years to build really good games. Some of these gaming studios, a lot of the games that you know and love, would take, over 5 years in some cases to build. So we're starting to see some interesting implementations. Yuga launched Dookie Dash, which I actually think was a huge step forward for the space in the sense that, it's a mini game, but they brought in the Web3 mechanic with authentication, right? They made it easy for you to authenticate and bring your ape into the experience. They created this token-gated gaming experience, and it was simple to use. I think the next step is how do we bring more normies into the space, and how do we get people that don't have wallets specifically to start to interact with these new gaming experiences? And I think that's where we're going to go next.
I think our time is almost up, but leave the audience with what can they get excited about what's next for MoonPay?
So definitely recommend you guys to check out moonpay.com. One very cool thing that you can check out right now is the MoonPay Passport. So we launched the idea of it during Art Basel of last year with ThankYouX, who's one of the leading creatives in the space. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to walk the walk. If we're going to tell brands all these exciting opportunities around how they can engage with this technology, we should be walking the walk with our own users. We have 15 million customers at MoonPay. How can we build a better experience for our MoonPay users? And so we're launching the Passport program. Anyone can apply for the MoonPay Passport. And it's going to give you a more personalized, curated experience inside of MoonPay. And so we're going to be launching that soon. People can sign up for the wait list. But I'm super fired up to use this technology and drive better outcomes and better experiences for the people that use MoonPay.
Thank you. And thanks for everyone.